Hi, so this being a Poetry Thursday that falls within Filmtastic February, the reading event celebrating movies and books devised by Annie at Obscure Book Adventures, we thought we'd read some poems about films. So it's a different format. 2 readers, 4 poems.
Can you take it, kids?
And they're not all Jenny.
And they're not all me.
No, so just so it ends up where we want it to end up. Well, no, why don't you start anyway? You do one, I'll do 2. Be a Roy sandwich.
All right then, a Roy sandwich.
Okay, so here, just might destabilise people too much if they don't hear you pretty soon. I can see the unsubscribe buttons being pounded by the poetry crowd.
I think you overestimate my draw. Anyway, Ode to Thelma Ritter. There's no one like you in the movies anymore, Thelma. No lovable, middle-aged character actress, gravelly voiced and hard-boiled, with a sharp-tongued flair for the cynical as well as the comical. You could work miracles with a little screen time, turning out indelible performances in a matter of minutes. Betty Davies' acerbic sidekick in All About Eve, Jimmy Stewart's down-to-earth nurse in Rear Window, Doris Day's perpetually hungover maid in Pillow Talk. You played women with names like Clancy, Aggie, Bertha, Birdie, Lottie, Lena, Della, Stella, Sophie, Sadie, Maud, May and Mo. But what of you, Thelma? Online, I find only this mini-biography. Born in Brooklyn on Valentine's Day in 1905. Trained at American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Stage career mostly unsuccessful. Married Joseph Moran in 1927. Briefly gave up acting to raise 2 children. Started working again in radio in 1940. Bit part in Miracle on 34th Street launched noteworthy screen career. Appeared in 30 films between 1947 and 1968. Died of a heart attack in 1969 in New York. Thelma, 6 times you were nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and 6 times you lost. You who could save any movie with your wisecracks. A Google search uncovers this little known fact. Quote, Shirley Booth was not the first choice to play Hazel. Thelma Ritter was. Miss Ritter wanted the role badly, but due to illness had to bow out. Booth would win 2 Emmys in the early 1960s for playing television's sassiest maid, your rightful part. Oh, elusive trophies, oh, tired heart, you who survived the Titanic in one picture would say sadly, world-wearily in the next, I have to go on making a living so I can die. It's by David Trinidad.
Yeah.
Born 1953.
Cool.
So it's over to you.
Yeah. Just realised why you were reading that. That means tomorrow is Thelma Ritter's birthday.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, Thelma Ritter. I've loved you many, 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 many years.
Okay, so my first pick is a poem by John Updike called Movie House. View it by day from the back, from the parking lot in the rear, for from this angle only the beautiful brick blankness can be grasped. Monumentality wears one face in all ages. No windows intrude real light into this temple of shades, and the size of it, the size of the great rear wall, measures the breadth of the dreams we have had here. It dwarfs the village bank, outlooms the town hall, and even in its decline makes the bright-ceilinged supermarket seem mean. stark closet of stealthy rapture, vast introspective camera, wherein our most daring self-projections were given familiar names. Stand by your macadam lake, and tell the eons of our extinction that we too could house our gods, could secrete a pyramid to sight the stars by. And my second choice, by Gregory Djanakian, movie extras. They are always falling into crevasses, misstepping into wobbles of quicksand, or marching as foot soldiers over the world's edge to prove some tyrannical point. Even with animals they are unlucky, snake-bitten, piranha-gnawed, mauled by abominables, and the commonest dog turning on them as on evil. If disaster follows them like a cloud, the heavens burst, and they are borne away, clinging, poor wretches, to none but each other. It is always so hero and heroine can come stepping blithely over mines, springs and rubble, stealing our hearts, wearing our faces. Movie after movie, day after day, they die almost out of earshot, just beyond our affections, easily, without fanfare. Who are they, these strange expendables? Victims of spectacular meteors, scorpions, cars recklessly driven, wars that the world should love to do them in. They pass anonymously in the street, lean idly in doorways. Before the knife plunges, the bullet hits, they say, "Do not pity us, we could be anyone." Right then, back to you to
Back to me.
walk us home.
To me, to you, to me. And finally, this is in honour of my dear departed mother, The Prisoner of Zenda. At the end of The Prisoner of Zenda, the king being out of danger, Stuart Granger, as Rudolph Rassendyll, must swallow a bitter pill by renouncing his co-star, Deborah Kerr. It would be poor behaviour in him and in Princess Flavia were they to put their own concerns before those of the throne. Deborah Kerr must wed the king instead. Rassendyll turns to go. Must it be so? Why can't they have their cake and eat it, for heaven's sake? Please let them have it both ways, the audience prays, and yet it is hard to quarrel with a plot so moral. One redeeming factor, however, is that the actor who plays the once dissolute king, who has learned through suffering not to drink or be mean to his future queen, far from being a stranger, is also Stuart Granger. And that's by Richard Wilbur, and that's just lovely.
Yeah, great. That would have been another one of my choices too if you hadn't blagged
If I hadn't
it.
nabbed it. Nabbed it first.
You've got more connection with it, really.
Well, only because my mum really fancied Stuart Granger, so if there was a black and white Stuart Granger on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday night, me and Mum would always watch them. She loved his urbane charm. She was a sucker for that kind of thing. She's very fond of Cary Grant as well. As are we all.
Yeah.
And as for Thelma Ritter...
we haven't seen this show, Hazel.
No, we haven't. We know nothing of it.
There's a sassy maid we've been denied.
I know.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, no, that's all right. That's all right. Just don't interrupt again.
We should have a safe
So
word.
Shut up! That's my safe word. I would have put money on the fact of Thelma Ritter being in The Trouble with Harry. One of Alfred Hitchcock's best films, I think. I think it's terrific. But she wasn't in The Trouble with Harry. There were no sassy maids or gravelly voiced anythings in The Trouble with Harry. Now I come to think about it. But she was in Rear Window, which is another of my absolute top fave Alfred Hitchcock films. And me and my mum, as well as watching Stuart Granger on the telly, used to go to the pictures of a weekend sometimes when I was in my early 20s. And at the Arts Cinema at Aston University in Birmingham, they did an Alfred Hitchcock season. So I have seen large numbers of Alfred Hitchcock films in proper picture.
Oh, nice.
Big screen thing. And I remember one of them was just after Christmas. And me and my mum took flasks of tea and mince pies to cheer us along. But yeah, Thelma Ritter. She'd a man. She was great. I really don't make character actors like her anymore.
Yeah, well, I really like the John Updike poem about movie houses, just because of that description of the architecture, where in old-fashioned cinemas you would have these massive blank red brick walls that are unfeasibly huge, and the way they sort of dominate the surroundings. I mean, over here in England, there used to be a lot more cinemas, and a lot of them have been repurposed, so they still exist as buildings, but they might be stores or, the classic thing was bingo halls. That seems to have passed away now.
Carpet sales places as well, because they're big enough to have like big rolls of cheap carpet.
I think one of the ones near us has been a supermarket, and now it's student accommodation.
Which one's that?
What used to be Tesco up by the church.
Oh, crikey!
So the students are sleeping in those dreams of former films, as described in the poem. So yeah,
it was a beautiful poem. That was very.
I didn't really think of it. I would have thought, John Updike, novels, short stories, but
he's a bloke.
That was good. Okay, well that's probably our Poetry Thursday for this week.
That's all you've got. 4 poems.
Popcorn poems. So, you're going to say your normal goodbye? Or we got a special film version?
I'm just going to... I shall just go...
You can't say goodbye by psychic thought transference. The audience won't get it.
Yeah, no, that won't work. Ta-ra a bit. Mind how you go. Keep out the off-road. And don't eat too many sweets while you're watching the film. Because nobody wants to hear you chobbling on your bag of suck.
Oh dear, no.
Nah.
Oh God, do you remember when we saw that kids' film with our nephew?
Oh God, was that the dragon one?
I think it was about a pigeon, but the
pigeon dragon.
The Haribo eating by children behind us, accompanied with mild vomiting, meant that there was literally effluvia appearing beneath our feet.
Fortunately, I had
leave you with that image.
Erased that from my memory, but now you've put it back. So yeah, there you go. Our gift to you, effluvia. Tra.
Bye.
Elves of Rockland, they're screaming everywhere. Shades of Inferno and vaudeville. Anything can happen, and it probably will.